This is DNN, the Donkey News Network, with a special investigative report. I'm your host, Patches McKeehaw. Professor Sandy Camelista works with human beings. She studies how they travel and why. Her most recent research project was with what's called wise men. Welcome, Professor Camelista.
Oh, thank you very much indeed.
What are these wise men you've been working with?
Wise men are smarter than regular men. They're very interested in the world around them, observing things and developing theories about what they see. They can often be found reading. They're quite fascinating. Almost as smart as camels. Just not with directions.
They can't find their way around?
Not very well, but they make up for it using things called maps. It's a picture of the directions they should be following. The direction problems come when no one has a map and they start arguing about which way to go. You don't ever see camels or donkeys needing a map.
No, we just go where the carrots are generally. Were these wise men looking for carrots?
Actually, no. They were looking for a baby.
A baby? There's babies all over the place.
Well, this was a very special baby they were looking for. That's how I became interested in this project. This baby had an ancient prophecy. It would be a wonderful counselor, mighty God, everlasting Father, Prince of Peace.
Oh, I think I've heard of this baby before.
Oh, yes, he's quite a famous baby in some circles. The wise men knew he would be king of the Jews because they saw what they called his star rise in the east. So they tried to figure out exactly where it was he might be born. They took me along on this trip to try to find him. I carried things for them, but they didn't realize I was actually writing research notes about them as we went. Humans never figure that part out.
Did they end up finding the baby?
Well, not right away. They had brought special gifts for the baby. Gold, frankincense, myrrh. But that's also how they got lost. Because one of them spilled frankincense all over the map, and then they couldn't see where they were supposed to go.
Did you help them figure it out?
Well, I didn't want to influence their behavior. It would ruin my investigation. But I did feel so sorry for them, wandering around in the dark like that. So I lay down and went, but I was quietly pointing with my head in the direction of a huge palace.
Did they see it?
Eventually. So we went over there, but inside this palace was a really mean king whose name was Herod. He had heard that this baby would be king of the Jews, so he wanted to kill that baby because he wanted to be the only important king.
What happened?
Well, he made them promise that they would tell him where this baby was. He said it was so he could worship him, but he wasn't going to. Of course, that was just a lie, but they believed him. So they promised.
Oh, no.
I know. I was really worried. This was the low point of the trip for me. Followed right afterwards by one of the high points.
What happened?
Well, they still didn't really know where they were going, but then this star, the star they said was his star, when they saw it in the east, it appeared. And so I said, but of course they didn't understand me, so I said it again. They finally looked up, and the star traveled across the sky, and they followed it. It led them right to the baby.
Incredible.
It was the most extraordinary occurrence in all my years as a researcher. I'll never forget it. The wise men gave their presents, the gold, the myrrh, and the rest of the frankincense that didn't spill all over the map, to the little family. Mary, his mother, Joseph, and the baby, whose name we learned was Jesus. He was the wonderful counselor, mighty God, everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Everything the prophecy had said about him. Even though he was just a little baby, he was still God.
What happened with the evil king? Did they tell him about the baby?
They didn't. They had a dream not to go back to King Herod, and they listened to that dream. So they went back home another way. I went back to the university to write my paper about them and to get the frankincense out of my fur.
What did this experience teach you about human wise men?
I learned that even though they don't usually know where they're going, and sometimes they don't even know what they're doing, human beings are really just looking for God. That's why they travel and they go places and they do stuff. Underneath everything, they're really just searching for the King of Kings, even if he appears just as a little baby. But they don't always realize it.
Professor Camelista, thank you so much for speaking with us today.
It was a pleasure, Patches.
That was Professor Sandy Camelista and her work with human wise men. After the break, should vegetables be involved with dessert? Someone has invented carrot cake. Is this a terrible abomination or the best thing that's ever happened? Our team of culinary experts weigh in after this.